All right, here we are, the Titus and Tate offseason AMA. That's what we're calling this. I think 3 years ago, Titus, you and I got on Reddit, a place that I hate and cannot stand more than anything in the world. And we did an AMA. I think it turned out really well. But you and I, as we were doing it, we were at the Ringer Studios. We're both on our laptops. We look over at each other and we're like, man, I am exhausted from typing. All these answers out to all these people, all of the friends of the program. So we decided to make this easier on us, make it less laborious. So now we can do an AMA, and it's all vocal. It's all you and I.
I love when we do these because if anyone has any problems with the show, it's their fault. You know, like you could have wrote in and changed the.
You could have changed the course of history.
Yes, you could have, and you chose not to. So that's on you. We have 1,000 emails to get to, so just dive right into it. I read 3 of them. I think I know what the first couple are going to be, but then after that, I have no idea where we're going.
Well, the first one's pretty good because it brings up an old friend of the show, old friend of the program, the original friend of the program. And the question is, any update on the status of Kyle's OSP tattoo? For the friends at home, our old producer Kyle got a One Shining Podcast tattoo on his forearm. Chris D'Estasio is the one who comes in with that question. Thank you, Chris. Any update, Titus? Do we have an update?
No,
That's
the update is he hasn't done anything to it. I'll be honest. When Kyle got that tattoo initially, I anticipated him getting full sleeved. I anticipated him.
The JJ Redick.
I am absolutely stunned. Are you not that he doesn't have another tattoo? That's it. It's been how many years now? 2 or 3?
It's been at least 3 years, but I will say, I think if that's your first one,
you got to get another one.
Well, I also think you might just say that's enough because like this is not good. This is not my thing.
I was thinking get more and overshadow it. And just like turn
I think you come back, you're like, I did not have a plan for that. I'm happy I survived. It's like jumping out of a plane. It's skydiving. It's a one and done deal.
Nothing will ever top that in terms of shock value. That is, I said it in the moment. It was I'll always remember where I was when I saw that.
Yes.
And I had a feeling that like that wasn't. I don't know. Like one of my buddies, I said that to him. I was like, I'll never forget. And they're like, come on, man. Like it's a tat. Like your friend got a tattoo. You're gonna obviously forget. And I was like, no. I really feel like the rest of my life I'm gonna remember where I was when I see text message from Kyle Crichton. I click on it, and then it's a picture of his arm with the tattoo. I was like,
the best part about it is that I think I had ignored the text for 2 or 3 days because it was just like one of those weekend things. It was a news dump. It was
on a Friday. It was on a Friday. It was a Friday news dump. It was. I
thought it was a joke. So then when I came back to work on Monday and I ran into him, Bill's like, "What's happening here?" I was like, "Kyle got a tattoo of One Shining Podcast," and man, what a great story.
So there's really no update. I saw Kyle last weekend. This past week. Yeah, we grabbed dinner together. He's doing great. Life is good. He's living in one of Bill's 7 houses, I think. I don't actually think that.
No,
but
definitely not.
He said he moved. He said he's got a new thing. I don't know. Go listen to BS if you want. Go listen to the BS pod. I'm sure Kyle's still giving life updates on that thing.
Kyle, how the bunnies doing? All right, number 2, Titus and Tate. Love the show. Keep up the good work. Thank you so much.
Yep.
You all touched on Kim Mulkey leaving Baylor for LSU and how abnormal it was for a big-time coach to leave established programs like that. What would be the men's basketball equivalent, and why is it Coach K leaving Duke to go to South Carolina for the 2022-23 season? P.S. Titus, how many takes did it take for you to make that shot in the opening of the Indiana basketball tour video? All the best, Mike Saldana.
Mike, were you in the gym for that?
I mean, Mike's having a good time. Great question, Mike. I'm trying to think about what my answer would be for Kim Mulkey. You know, this is a national champion.
Wait, how many did she win? 3?
3.
So are we going off of that? Like, I guess, like, what is the sticking point to the Kim Mulkey resume? Is it the 3 national titles, or is it like the brand? Because, like, you know, like John Calipari, I would say his brand is equivalent to what the Baylor women's basketball brand is, but he's only got 1 national title. So are we looking at the titles? Are we looking at the status within the, you know what I mean?
I think it's the stature within the coaching circles. Yeah. So I think if you look at, you know, Kim Mulkey, if you did 3-time national champion, it's like Roy Williams going to college at Charleston. You know what I mean? Where you're like, what's happening here?
It would be,
but it's not a homecoming.
It would honestly be Coach K going to Illinois because
Chicago.
Because exactly. Kim Mulkey, like the whole like that was what blew my mind. Was like I saw people saying Kim Mulkey's going home, and I was like, oh, I get it, because, you know, I mean, for God's sakes, we did a whole podcast where I was yelling into a microphone about the allure of home, of being called home. So I was like, oh, okay. Well, I mean, it seems weird that she would leave a place where she won 3 national titles, but now that she's going home, I get it. I had no idea that she went to LSU, and then I kept reading. I was like, she didn't go to LSU.
She went to Louisiana Tech, right?
Tech. which is
enough.
not in Baton Rouge. And I was like, wait a second. So I think Coach K going back home, quote unquote, to Chicago, and by Chicago we mean Champaign, Illinois, and he's coaching the Fighting Illini.
Yeah.
That feels like a good one, right?
Or South Bend, Indiana. He
He
goes to Notre Dame and takes Mike's great job.
Back home to Notre Dame.
All right, that's a good answer.
Yeah.
Good question, Mike.
Coach K. Who else could it be? I mean, if Roy doesn't retire,
That's what I mean. If Roy doesn't retire, he could have gone to College of Charleston and said, "I've had a house there ever since I was 7 years old. We always went down to Charleston to go to the beach." You going to Coastal Carolina?
Honestly, it was sort of Izzo taking the Cavs job for a day or two. Like that kind of came out of left field, and you're like, he's going where to do what?
Yeah.
To coach the Cavs without LeBron? What? And then he obviously didn't. And then John Beeline. I think that was a.
Do you think Izzo regrets not going now as he looks at the Amani Bates situation?
I think that was a long play from Izzo. He did it on purpose. To get Beeline to eventually do it. Like I think he
baited him into it.
I think he did it, backed out of the deal.
Yeah.
And then however many years passed, and he's talking to John Beeline. He's like, the biggest regret in my life is I never took that Cavs job. And then Beeline just kept hearing that, and he's like, I gotta go. And he got him out of the Big Ten.
Well, this used to be the thing with Coach K and Dean Smith would always leak that they got offered the Lakers job.
Yeah.
And
I remember the Coach K was 04.
Yeah, that's when he went to do an interview.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Dean Smith had gotten offered a chance, 5 years before, didn't leak it to anybody. Coach K comes out. I like that. I like when you leak it.
I vividly remember, and maybe this is a Mandela effect, Berenstain Bears situation where it's a false memory, but I vividly remember like a Chris Connolly special on SportsCenter where he's telling us about the kid, and this wheelchair bound kid writing a letter to Coach K saying, Coach, Duke is my team. Please don't do this, Coach. And K's like reading the letter on Sport. Did this happen? Do you remember this?
It sounds right.
I remember like K was like, this is why I came back to Duke, and he's holding up a letter from some kid that I don't know was bound to a wheelchair and was like, Coach, please don't do it. And he was like, I was ready to take the Lakers job, but this kid convinced me not to. I don't know. I'll have to go look that up.
I will say this: Chris Connolly, quick Chris Connolly story. When I was an intern at Grantland, he was in charge. Bill got let go right as I got there, and Chris Connolly tried to take me under his wing, and he took me into the studio and started playing his old interviews and was showing me how to be a great interviewer. And it was the funniest thing I've ever been a part of because I'm like, what is happening right now? I felt like I was watching highlights with Charles Barkley. Where he's like, watch this move right here. Unbelievable stuff.
He doesn't work for Fox, does he?
No. He's Disney for life. Number 3, we got, hey, longtime friend of the program. Question number 1: if you're Duke and both are willing, do you take Quin Snyder or Brad Stevens?
Wow. I think the answer to that is Quin Snyder. That's a great question, but I do think it's kind of.
I was told Quin Snyder will never get the Duke job. By the way,
why is that?
Not in the family. Not in the family.
He's not in the family.
I guess that was the that's
he's
the best
in the
answer I can give.
Without being in the family.
It's like Jerry Stackhouse. That's what I thought. Jerry Stackhouse was in the family at North Carolina, but then I was told he is not in the family.
Well, if you're telling me Quin Snyder is not in the family, even though I thought he was in the family, then
it's extended family. I should say.
I think Quinn, he's that would be the tiebreaker to me. Obviously, I think they're both when I think of Quin Snyder and Brad Stevens, I think of a similar type coach. Honestly, in terms of how big of a get it would be. And if we're doing the headline game, I guess Brad Stevens would be a bigger headline because he's in Boston and he's got the Boston media machine behind him. So if he left Boston, that's gonna get whatever.
That is the play.
But I don't buy into all that bullshit. So I focus just on the names themselves and what would affect me in terms of thinking of coaching acumen. And this guy is going to, is this a splash that's going to now change the trajectory of college basketball? I think they're both,
I say a blip or a bomb?
A blip or a bomb. I think in that regard, they're both very similar. That I would be like, wow, this is a big deal that Duke hired this guy. And I think the tiebreaker would go to Quin Snyder because I thought he was in the family. But if he's not in the family, then I have to go with Brad Stevens.
I will say, Brad Stevens I would hate more if he went to Duke. And I think that is the most shocking revelation of my life, is the fact that if you had asked me that question 5-6 years ago, and you said Quin Snyder, Brad Stevens, they go to Duke, who do you hate more? The answer is Quin Snyder 10 times out of 10. But Brad Stevens has jumped so far up those rankings.
I think if Brad Stevens goes to Duke, he has well, how does the media treat him then? Because I think those same people that are in the bag for the Celtics are in the bag for the Duke. So like,
but you have to understand that even though people like those people, they don't. They hate them all.
True.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And in fact, most people enjoy that content, that Boston sphere, because they want to hate on it.
Okay, but
same with Duke. I mean, a lot of people watch Duke for the hate. Me.
I think you're right. I think if Brad Stevens took the job at Duke, that would get more hatred nationally. That would people would get fired up.
He is the weasel.
Yeah,
he is. I mean, that is what people call would hate him. Coach K. Yeah,
the whole state. So when Brad Stevens doesn't go to Indiana to IU,
$70 million.
Butler fans thought it was funny because they're just it's funny to them that Indiana, Brad Stevens belongs to them, and IU you can't have him, whatever. But if Brad Stevens goes to Duke, the ownership that Butler fans have for they would feel betrayed. You know what I mean? I think Butler fans, if he ends up in college again, Butler fans feel like they've been betrayed.
Yes.
Indiana fans would feel like they've been betrayed. The whole state at that point, because Purdue and Notre Dame don't.
He's enemy number one.
He's enemy number one of the whole state of Indiana. You're gonna hate him. North Carolina's gonna hate him because he's Duke's coach.
Gosh.
Yeah, I think Brad Stevens, and I think that's the reason Duke should hire him. But to answer this hypothetical, if both are willing, I think Brad gets the tiebreaker.
Yeah, I think it's a great question. I will point out, Abed also said that Mark Turgeon has sucked the life out of Maryland basketball, and how does it recover? He also wanted to point out that Turgeon's extension was incredibly school friendly, so I wouldn't put too much stock in it. So great second thought there. I will say Maryland has to come back at some point, and we all know what the move is. It's to come back to the ACC.
They have to go back to the ACC. I think that's the only way to get the swagger back. I think Maryland, weirdly, the Under Armour. My first thought when you ask questions about getting the swagger back, I always look at the shoe company. What is the brand on your chest? And if it's not Nike, I mean, that's where we've arrived.
Yes.
Adidas, as the phrase we love on this show, they flew too close to the sun. And I think in the post FBI world, even Kansas doesn't excite me anymore. Louisville doesn't excite me anymore. It's Jordan and it's Nike.
Tom Izzo'd Adidas, where they said, we're going to drop these bags, we're going to do all this stuff. And Adidas was like, well, we have to beat them to the punch. We have to up these numbers.
Right.
We have to get this thing going. This is pro stuff that we're doing. And then Nike was like, LOL, we weren't doing anything. Gotcha.
Under Armour has obviously fallen off because, I mean, they force majeure UCLA. UCLA goes to the Final Four. Horrible look. Just a horrible. Add that to the list of signing Bryce Harper and Jordan Spieth. And we went through that whole gamut of everything under Cam Newton right before he blows the Super Bowl. Or was that whatever. The timeline of Under Armour is staggering, how they made all these big deals and then immediately Steph Curry blows a 3-1 lead in the finals and all that kind of stuff. But weirdly, Tate, I think the one thing that pops for me with Under Armour is Maryland. I think the tie-in of having I can be sold that idea that this is a Phil Knight situation, but for Maryland. So I don't think that's the problem. I think they can win national titles with Under Armour as their sponsor. I don't think they can win national titles in the Big Ten. And I think they have to go back to the ACC. I think that's what they want. That's what the ACC wants. That's what the Big Ten wants. Jim Delaney brought Maryland over. We saw his vision. We appreciated it. Jim Delaney is no longer the commissioner. I think it's time to put the wheels in motion and undo that and figure out something else. I don't know.
Come home, Maryland. Yeah. It's a lot more fun when Duke is hated by someone else, and it's a totally different hate. And look, I'm not a fan of Maryland, but I respect Maryland. With the way they handle.
Who's taking over that mantle seems to be Syracuse in terms of the. I mean, outside of Tobacco Road, who hates Duke the most? And
it's New York's best rivalry, Duke versus Syracuse.
And it works, but it doesn't at the same. I don't know. It's not the same.
They're best friends.
I need Maryland student section making offensive signs.
Yes.
That are crossing a line, but also you're kind of funny.
Yeah. They were chanting Agni a-hole at JJ Redick. You know what I mean? Those are the types of things. Here we go. Moving on. Number 4 here. What's the story behind your podcast opening music? How it came about? Who created it? How were you able to keep it after moving to Fox?
Oh, that's a you question.
Michael Elliott. Michael, to give you that full story, that would take too much time. So I'll give you the quick, glossed over version of this. Bill Simmons had a podcast. I was the producer of it. Bill Simmons had a song that was made by Tupac that we used for a year and a half because I thought that the Shakur family had given us the green light to use the song. Turns out, not the case. So then we had
the wrong Shakur family. It was Mustafa Shakur's family.
we thought we were all green, but we were just riding. You know what I mean? It was a young independent company. There were 5 employees. We were having a great time, and at that point, Bill said, we need another song. So we put it out to the people. We need another song. People send in submissions. I spent my time at night listening to songs, sending to Bill. Is this the one you like? No. Is this one you like? No. Is this one you like? No. Is this one you like? No.
Eddie Vedder.
Not my tempo. Not my tempo. All caps. And I slowly over time had given up. He told me finally 2 weeks in that Pearl Jam was going to be the new music. Yeah. I was like, what? Huh? That was the worst. But then great music that was sent to us was the horns that were turned into our intro. Yeah. I took those horns. I put the Woody Durham intro on the top of it. I cut it together. I sent it to the guy. I said, can I use this for a college basketball podcast? He said, sure, period. He was not very excited because he wanted it to be Bill Simmons. And turned out One Shining Podcast. Yeah. Teed up and now Tyson Tate.
Is Horns the name of the song?
Yes.
Should we call it that?
Yeah, Horns? I mean, it's Horns, yeah.
That's a horn set. It's like a horn.
I mean, the horns are the main thing that you think of when you think of the song, and then I put a beat underneath it, and then I put the intro.
But does it have an official title? Should we call it Horns?
Just call it Horns, yeah.
That's great.
Because it's a horn set.
Because we love horns. I love the horn set. We love the horn set on the show.
Oh, Michael, that's your short answer. Right. Yeah, there you go.
That's very funny. The Shakur family lied to you. It wasn't the Shakur family.
I mean,
it was Jim Cunningham with a burner email address.
And the guy that made the song, I mean, God bless him. He was very nice, but he was obviously very disappointed.
He was bummed out. I wonder what that guy's doing. Where is that guy today?
Well, I tried to find his name and because I was going to give him credit, and when I left the Ringer, they deleted my email, so I lost all my emails. I lost everything that I ever made there. So
we have to find this guy. Maybe this is off-season content.
So if you were listening, guy who made the horns, please reach out to me. I owe you.
Maybe we've called ourselves the Hardy Boys of college basketball before. Maybe this is our new mystery. Is we just like get in a van and you go try to find this guy somewhere in the world. He's out there.
Reach out to us. All right. Next one we got. Hey guys, thanks for doing the mailbag. You're welcome. I've had this question on my mind for a long time now. I just hired a 23-year-old high school coach here in Michigan. I'm wondering, should I be a bad guy? He was just hired himself. Should I be a bad guy as a high school coach? I know it's not technically possible, but I'm unsure who to model myself after as a coach. Do I go full Pastner, Mick Cronin, anyone but Mark Turgeon? He says, thanks, fellas. Just looking for some inspiration. Jordan.
He's in Michigan. Is this Imani Bates' coach at the Chargers?
23 years old. I think right now you have to pay homage. This is the pay homage period of your coaching career. This is when you go to the old heads, you ask them questions, you kiss the ring a little bit, you learn, little things that you implement, situational plays that other coaches in the league see, and they say, I like this guy Jordan. He knows what's going on.
But you don't want to be a pushover. You don't want to kiss too much ass because then they'll smell that on you and be like, we got this guy in the palm of our hand.
Good guy.
So what you need to do is kiss a bunch of ass, but pick one guy who you're just going to punch in the face, one of these coaches.
Yeah. That's what Calipari did with John Chaney. He was like, I will fight somebody.
Kiss the ring, and then just randomly, boom, and it comes out of nowhere. And then just keep everyone on their toes. You can be a bad guy in high school. You just have to be creative about it. You have to redraw district lines. Yes. You have to, figure out things like that. For God's sakes,
this is the mailing address. This is where you buy a house in the right district and they live there, but also 3 other kids live there. That's the bad guy of high school.
You want to talk about a guy to emulate is Greg Oden and Mike Conley's high school coach, Jack Kiefer, at Lawrence North High School in Indianapolis, Lawrence North High School is Lawrence Township in Indianapolis State. Not necessarily, there's nothing particularly noteworthy about it. Kyle Guy is from Lawrence Township. He went to Lawrence Central High School. There was supposed to be a Lawrence South. There never was. It's just North and Central. Those are the two schools. Nice. There's nothing extraordinary about the place, and yet somehow it's a public school, so you have to live in the district to go to this high school. Wink, wink. Somehow this man, over the course of his coaching career, has produced countless 7-foot. Eric Montross went there.
Yes.
Jonathan Stewart went there, who was signed with Kentucky before he tragically died in the state tournament that year. Yeah. In 98 or something like that. 99 somewhere. I think it was 99. Greg Oden goes there. Mike Conley goes there. It has been. Chris Hill went there, played at Michigan State.
Yeah.
they have pumped out an ungodly. It's
Jordan, are you listening?
It's not necessarily the talent that comes out, because like Pike High School in Indianapolis has produced there's a lot of schools in Indianapolis that produce a lot of great players. What stood out to me was the 7-footers that this place is. Like, how many 7-footers exist in the world? Half of them went to Lawrence North High School.
Yeah. I mean,
How?
that's the best part of basketball. It's just like a bunch of 7-footers socially being able to find something they can all do together. You know what I mean? That's
right.
It's a beautiful thing.
So that's my advice, Jordan. Call up Jack Kiefer. Be like, hey, what were you putting in the water? Because that was definitely what it was, right? You were putting stuff in the water. You weren't, getting
gerrymandering kids in your school
districts.
Not at all. All right, let's keep it pushing. Tate, have you ever thought about repaying the visit to basketball heaven, aka Indiana, you took with Titus with the visit to basketball paradise, aka North Carolina? Wow. So this is a great question. I think I have an easy answer. Yes, we do want to do this. We want to go to Tobacco Road. I want to take you to. I mean, you've been to most of these places. We went to Chapel Hill.
Give me the list.
We got to go to Carmichael.
Yep.
You know,
I've never been there. I've been on Carolina's campus.
You went to the
times.
Dean Dome.
I've never been to Carmichael.
We got to go to the Basketball Hall of Fame on campus at North Carolina. We can go to my hometown, Henderson, North Carolina. Shout out. Go to my old gym. My high school doesn't exist anymore. The government shut it down. But I was valedictorian of it before it was shut down. Shout out to Northern Vance High School. Now just one Vance. But yeah, I mean, we can go to Kinston. This is what Jason is saying.
Should we revive your high school?
I mean, we
should we start a movement to like bring the high school back?
I think the state would be like, no.
It's not in the best interest of the state.
Not at all. Yeah, that's literally the headline of the press release. Please don't bring this back. They're saying we should go to Kinston High School. We should go to like Ravenscroft, Gibbons. Like we do the whole Raleigh experience. Show you the premier schools.
Yeah, I was gonna say like, what is the high school gym that of note, or like what's the old, other than Carmichael and I guess Cameron counts. What is like
Broughton.
the old historic?
Probably Broughton High School. That's where Pistol Pete played.
Okay, yeah.
So we'll probably go to Broughton. Yeah, Broughton High School.
All right. Yeah. Wilmington? Do we go to Wilmington?
We could go to
swing
Wilmington.
over there.
Yeah, we could go. Basically,
see the MJ.
I'm gonna upset some people in North Carolina. If you're from the eastern part of the state, which is where I'm from, aka the 252, you're gonna have basketball. You're gonna go Roanoke Rapids. You're gonna go Kinston, where Julius Peppers is from Roanoke Rapids. You got Kinston, where Stackhouse and Reggie Bullock is from. You just go straight down the eastern part of the state. We're gonna have a good time. We're gonna end in Wilmington, where Michael Jordan is from.
So you're saying the western part? Nah.
See, most people when they hear I'm from Henderson, they think I'm from Hendersonville, which is a very beautiful place in the mountains.
It's over by Asheville, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Not from there. From Henderson.
Okay.
Eastern part of the state.
No high school anymore.
Yeah, no high school. Jason C., we're gonna do it.
All
we're
right,
gonna go to North Carolina.
I'm down.
Yeah,
of course
that's easy.
I'm down. Yeah.
That's easy.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. Titus and Tate, I loved your coverage of the tournament. He put the in all caps. Thanks so much.
Nice.
I saw all of your episodes. I know Titus hates Michigan, but their chances of a national title are every bit as good as Carolina. Okay, calm down. Again, please cover Michigan on one of your next podcasts. Keith Reber, Michigan class of 1982.
Wow. Shout out Keith. That's a Michigan man through and through.
Yeah.
I don't hate Michigan, Keith.
I will say we don't hate Michigan. 2018, we rode them to the Final Four with Duncan Robinson.
But I do understand Michigan fans' point of view, because I do say I don't hate Michigan a lot, and then my actions are speaking louder than my words. I think I was getting really frustrated this year, because this year was not a good year. This year put to test how much. I'll say this, Tate. I hated this Michigan team this year more than I've hated any Michigan basketball team. I will confess to that. But I don't hate Michigan's program. I just hated this team because all the circumstances of the season were really, really pissing me off. And then they beat Ohio State in the manner that they did, and I got really upset about that. And I think it's a new slate, though. I can flush it. It was just this particular team, much in the same way I didn't love Houston this year.
Yeah.
Like
it's not the program.
Yeah,
it was the team.
Next year, Houston's going to go to the Maui Invitational. I'll be there. I'll be kissing up to Kelvin Sampson, and people will call me a hypocrite, and I'll say no, I'm not a. That was last year's team I didn't love. If Houston's good next year, I'll believe in them. If Houston wins a Maui Invitational, I'm gonna ride them so hard next year. But this year I just didn't believe in them. Michigan I believed in. They were not frauds. I just hated their team because they were pissing me off. I don't know how else to explain it. They're just pissed. Like their schedule was easy as hell for the start of the Big Ten season.
Sorry, Keith.
I was getting
Keith,
mad
this
about.
started out so good for you.
I think what upset me was like someone said something to me one time about like you have to admit that like Joanna's taking what Beeline's built and like just taking it to a new
That's
level.
when I saw
and
you
I
get
lost my
triggered.
mind when I had someone approach me and say that, and I was like, you have to be trolling me that Juwan Howard has taken but John Beilein built to the next level. What is the next level? Has he won a national title? No. Then shut up. No, he hasn't.
Also, Hunter Dickinson will be the most hated player in the country next year. I'm getting ahead of that. I think Drew Timme and Hunter Dickinson will be battling to
Did
see.
you see Amani Bates decommits and Hunter Dickinson said hate to see it or something like that? He knows what he's doing.
He knows. Yeah, he likes being the heel. And I'm okay with it because Mo Wagner was once the foe of the program. I think Hunter Dickinson can step right into that role.
I don't know. I'll see Michigan's recruiting. I'm gonna give every year I give Michigan a chance. Sometimes I like Michigan's teams. Sometimes
we love
I
Shawnee
don't.
Brown, or at least I love Shawnee Brown. I think we both love Shawnee Brown.
I could put aside what Shawnee Brown did to Ohio State and say like I appreciate this guy. But yeah, I don't know. Is that a good enough answer?
I think it's a good. Yeah.
I do promise that I try my hardest. Michigan football kick rocks. Michigan football I hate. I will always hate. Michigan basketball I take it year by year. And this year
this year was a no for you.
This year I admit it. I didn't like it. I didn't like that they dodged Illinois. I didn't like Juwan trying to fight Mark Turgeon in the Big Ten tournament.
Yeah.
There's just a lot to not like, and I don't know. Next
I feel like everyone, if you were tuned into the Big Ten, you kind of had to pick a horse, so to speak. You had to pick a team that you rode with. I picked Illinois. That's who I stuck with. So therefore, Michigan was anti-me.
Yes.
You had Ohio State due to your allegiances.
Obviously.
So I mean, that's all it was. It wasn't like we hated on Michigan. We just picked our horses and we rode them.
Yes.
As you're supposed to.
Yes, and we'll see next year. But the signs aren't looking great that we're gonna like Michigan next year. But I'll give them a chance. I will.
Yes.
I will give them a fair chance. If Michigan wrecks everybody and they're playing awesome and then I'll tip my cap and I'll be like, this team's fun to watch and I like them. But last year just felt like they almost, just as the season was progressing, like Oakland takes them to overtime early in the season. Everyone's like, is Michigan better than Gonzaga? And I was like, no, they're not. They're not. That's okay. They're not. Whatever.
But after Gonzaga lost in the title game,
they might be. But are they better?
That's what I think.
Damn it.
All right, next up. Hey, guys, if the ringer is Duke, as stated by Tate, then is Bill Coach K, which means noted Bostonian Brad Stevens to Duke is all but confirmed. There's the Boston-Duke connection. Follow the masshole. DJ Marasco asked this question. DJ, great question.
If the ringer is Duke, who is Russillo? Who is Kyle? I think that's the real question.
Wow.
Because like Bill would obviously be Coach K.
I think Ryan Russillo is Cherokee Parks. I hope he sees this.
Kyle's Cherokee Parks with the awful tattoo. Don't they give him Cherokee Parks?
No, he's JJ Redick because he's just. I love him, and I know that Kay loves him. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, you got to think of who is Coach K's favorite and who
Kay
is like,
looking at him saying, "I wish you were my son."
Yes. That's Kyle. And I think Bill's like, I love you, Kyle. You're the best. Bill's definitely Coach K, I think, and I say that in a flattering sense because, I think you and I both say it to Bill. He's the GOAT, Coach K's the GOAT. That's what the kids are saying, so we'll let him have it. And DJ, great question. Even better question, though, coming up. Could you all please define what force majeure means to you in your own words?
Great question.
Ryan.
Force majeure is... Oof. It is a get out of jail free card. Yes. I think that's the way I would describe it. I think the phrase itself, we know what it means in the sense that it's like an act of God, right? Like it's like unforeseen circumstances.
That is the definition. Legal... Unforeseen circumstances have kept you from being able to fulfill your contractual obligations.
But at the same time, I do think that it is a get out of jail free card. Like even socially, like if you texted me, if we had plans and you had to get out and you're like, hey man, sorry I can't go to the I have tickets to the Lakers game and I'm like, Tate, you want to come? And I'm really counting on you going. And I'll meet you there or something. And I'm already there, and I'm sitting in my seat, and I'm like, "Where's Tate? Where?" And you text me, and you're like, "Hey man, I can't make it."
Force majeure.
And I'm like, "What the hell? You just backed out?" And you're like, "Yeah man, force majeure." I'd be like, "Oh, okay, I get it."
Yeah. I think get out of jail free card is the best way to describe it. And I think it's also a term that can be used at your own disposal in normal life.
If you break up with someone too, you can force majeure.
Yeah,
and I don't think they have any legal leg to stand on. I don't think they can be mad at all.
I think there's a chance that if you are married legally, you can say to your wife or husband, I force majeure this situation. And there's a chance you get out of it.
That's how you annul weddings. I was always curious. What's the difference between an annulment and a divorce? It's force majeure.
It's force majeure, yeah.
Divorce is you...
Based on this weather that we have going on, I'm gonna have to get out of here. It's unforeseen.
Dude, how great would it be? I mean, I guess what we're describing is just the purge, but how great would it be if like all of us had like 3 force majeure cards we could play throughout our life, and you could only get 3. And that's it.
You call it lifeline before you use your force majeure. You're like, hold on a second, I gotta use one of my lifelines. Mom,
there's a black
should I majeure?
There's like a black market for force majeure cards, like an NFT market where like you're trying to sell your force majeure.
Yeah, people are like, I got Jamie Foxx's force majeure card for sale, $5 million. I think that's good.
That's a good
that's the
answer.
best we got,
Get out
Ryan.
of jail
Great
for you.
question. All right, next up, hello, Duffelbag Boys, spelled D-U-F-F-L-E.
Okay.
Shout out to you.
All right.
My
Noted.
ex is a huge fan of St. John's basketball, and I would like it if y'all took a few minutes and roasted the program. He'd really enjoy that, or not. I've loved you guys since Teed Up, the best pod out there. Cheers, Lily from Philly. I love that nickname, Lily from Philly.
Lily from Philly.
Yeah.
Shout out Lily from Philly. So she
Lot of
dated
sauce.
she
Lot of
dated a
sauce.
guy that was a St. John's fan. They're no longer together, and she wants us to kill St. John's for
Yes,
for her.
and if you think about historically, you know, Philadelphia and New York, the Philly-New York
yeah,
All-Star games,
yeah.
there used to be a huge rivalry there. Wilt Chamberlain playing in those games, Connie Hawkins.
Yep.
So the fact that we have Philly, New York coming back on this
I
program,
love it.
thank you, Lily.
I will gladly do it. St. John's is a joke of a program. You are in New York City. You are the you have let Syracuse in this
Yes.
cow town in the middle of nowhere take over the we are New York's college basketball program.
You let New York
That is
State
embarrassing.
beat New York City.
Embarrassing. Upstate New York is kicking your ass. Absolutely embarrassing. You have the greatest talent in the entire I think Indiana produces the best basketball talent per capita, Tate.
Ooh.
But remove the capita.
Take that capita out.
You remove the capita, it's New York City. You are in the
For the kids at home, he just took the cap out.
the cap is
Yes.
out. The mecca of basketball is Madison Square Garden. That's where you play. You have the mecca of basketball talent, and you have been to one Final Four since 1952. It is embarrassing. It is humiliating. The pinnacle of your run as a program since Chris Mullen was there.
Yeah.
Not as the coach, by the way. Like that's how bad it got that you were just like, we're gonna hire Chris Mullen because like people know him, and we're gonna hope that works. The best you've had since 1985, since making the Final Four in 1985, was when Mike Jarvis, who had the Chris Daughtry freaking look where you like shave your head and then like wrap the sideburns around your ear. That's how I always remember Mike Jarvis. He makes the Elite Eight, chokes against Ohio State in Knoxville, Tennessee in 1999. I remember that game. I wasn't even an Ohio State fan. I remember watching that game saying, St. John's a bunch of bums. These guys suck. And Ohio State ran them off the floor. That is St. John's basketball. It's like the weirdest thing about doing a college basketball podcast, meeting people from New York who love St. John's, and they want to talk to you about the Johnnies, and I just look at my eyes glaze over. I'm like, dude, I got to be honest with you. Your program has done nothing that I care about. Nothing. I know nothing. Felipe who? I've never heard of him.
Yeah.
No. Like
Yeah.
Jim Cunningham, a friend of ours, he's a New York guy, and he's like, oh, you guys love college basketball? Can you guys want to talk about like Omar Cook and Ron Artest? And I was like, I actually don't, Jim. I don't at all. It's irrelevant. You've been irrelevant the whole. Was that good enough?
I think that was
it
great.
a little-
And the only thing I have to say is you guys have been irrelevant since Frank McGuire left. So like that's the last note that we have. Lily from Philly. We didn't want to do that, St. John's. I actually like St. John's, but Lily from Philly, that was for you.
I don't mind St. John's, but I have a feeling St. John's is gonna love me after that.
Had to happen. Next up, we're going to skip that one. Hi, TNT. Thanks for the constant college basketball content, though I could do without all the hate for Houston. Wow. My question
Ooh,
for the
okay.
pod is
All
if you have to change your career to something not in sports, what career would you pick? Thanks. Alyssa from Philly. Does she know
Wow.
Lily from Philly? That's the
She's,
question. Alyssa from Philly.
Yeah, I already addressed the Houston situation.
Yes, you did.
I think we'll be fine next year.
You have no
I
problem
apologize.
with Houston.
No, they were just frauds this year. It is what it is.
Yeah.
I don't
It's
get
not
paid
the program.
I do not get paid to do this job to to care about our listeners' feelings, Tate. I get paid to tell the truth, and the truth is Houston was a fraud. So
Yeah.
I'm sorry. What was the question? What would we be doing? Do you want to go first? Do you have an answer?
I mean, honestly, as I was thinking about this, I mean, in general, you know, my dream was to be on SportsCenter. SportsCenter does not exist anymore, at least in the form that I was dreaming of it to exist.
Yeah.
So that changed in my life. That made me pivot a little bit. Broadcast journalism is what I chose. Happy to be here. Happy to be, you know, talking to all the friends of the program. I think, you know, my mom's a teacher, my dad's a coach. I think it'll be one of the two things if I had to pick. I love coaching. I love teaching. I love being around young people. And yeah, that's probably the answer.
I'm moving up the coast to California. I don't think if it all goes away right now, I snap my fingers and like you can't work in sports anymore. I think I'm like just gonna start driving my car up the coast of California when it gets like kind of quieter outside of LA, where it's like it feels like an actual like it's basically Santa Barbara, probably Santa Barbara. I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna drop anchor there. I am going to teach 8th grade math, and during the summers when I don't have anything to do, I'm gonna like just run like a golden retriever farm where I just have like I don't know, I breed them. I just have like 30 golden retrievers, and it's actually not as glamorous as it looks on Instagram. I probably have an Instagram account for it too. Yeah. And I make it look awesome because it's just like a stampede
golden
of like
farm.
golden farm. But then there's just like poop all over my yard at all times and hair and everything, and it's like actually not that glamorous, but you wouldn't know from the Instagram account. So that's what I would do.
Yeah, that sounds like you're going to be an influencer. That's what that sounds like. All right, I think that's a good answer. We're both going to try to teach. You know, that's the best you can do in this world. All right, next up, love the pod. If you were the NCAA and could create your perfect tourney, what would be the venues for the regionals and the Final Four?
Ooh, this is a good one.
Taking into account history, tradition, prestige, as well as how fun it would be in the city. Here were Clay Rowe is the guy who Clay's been a friend of the program for a long time. I know that name. Here is his answer. In the East, he has MSG, South Greensboro, Midwest, Kansas City, the West, the Pit, and the Final Four in Indy. Pretty good picks from Clay. I like that.
You're not going to get me to go against Indy as the Final Four host. I think that one's pretty clear to me. I guess MSG makes sense in the East. I think the Midwest. I mean, Lawrence. I want to play that thing in Fog Island in the Midwest regional. I think you got to find a way, even though it's not Kansas City was an awesome time. By the way, I went to the Big 12 tournament one time. I think I've told that story on the podcast that I went for like 4 days and didn't do anything. And then when Grantland folded, I was the one person in the room that was like, yeah, that makes sense. They paid for me to go to the Big 12 tournament, not do anything. I had the time of my life at the Big 12 tournament. That setup they have in Kansas City is awesome.
Right?
Yeah, I don't have to do anything. Does he barbecue and go to the games? Nice. That setup though they got in Kansas City is awesome for like a modern type deal. I just like my mind immediately goes to like historic gyms though. Like I love if they could play the Final Four in Hinkle Fieldhouse.
That's what I mean. When I think of this question, I'm like, I would love to be able to go to Assembly Hall, to go to Rupp Arena, to go to Carmichael, not even the Dean Dome. Maybe even Cameron Indoor could be in there, but probably not. I would just want it to be actual arenas. But then if I had to pick like the big venues, it's like Greensboro Coliseum's a great pick. MSG's a good pick. I would, go back to Lucas Oil if I was going to be in the Midwest. Yeah. My Final Four would be in New Orleans. It would be in the Superdome.
New Orleans, I'm excited for next year for the New Orleans Final Four.
That's my favorite. That's when I think of the Final Four, I think of New Orleans because, 82, 93, that's what I learned about, so.
Well, those are the two. I mean, New Orleans and Indy are the two that just get cycled. And if there's any sporting event going on, those two get thrown on the list.
And Atlanta is like a wild card that I really like, but it's not one of my traditional favorites.
I don't like
it's kind of
Atlanta.
It's like a new blood type Final Four location.
I watched IU lose the 0-2 title game in Atlanta. Then I watched Ohio State lose the 0-7 title game.
Yeah, you have a reason to be anti.
I'm out on Final Fours in Atlanta.
Okay.
But yeah, I immediately go to the gyms like you. So I think I want the Final Four in Indy. But we got to do because he's asking like realistically, right? Like because the idea of doing like a Final Four in Fog Island Fieldhouse, that's never gonna happen.
Yeah, I mean if there was like the best case scenario version, it's like Midwest you do Allen Fieldhouse, West Coast you do Pauley probably.
Yeah, I was gonna say what are the historic? We got to figure this out. Like what are the historic gyms on the West Coast in terms of? It's Pauley, but like we've been to Pauley and Pauley doesn't pop to me. Like Pauley's a cool venue. But I don't walk into Pauley like I do in the Hinkle Fieldhouse and like
feel the history.
Like feel like, oh my God, that's where John Wooden taught Bill Walton how to put on socks. I don't feel that when I walk in there. And I wonder what the Pit in New Mexico people did he throw that one out? Did he put that on the list?
The Pit. Yeah.
I've heard that one's awesome. The same with McHale at Tucson. Tucson, it's awesome arena. It's an awesome atmosphere. I don't walk in there and feel like this is sacred ground or anything. I don't want
it's
to
something
where
with West Coast basketball. It just feels too brand new for it to have tradition.
You know where I felt that? I was in Eugene one time just on a road trip. I wasn't even there for anything sports related. I was just like driving on the coast, and I popped onto Oregon's campus, and the MacArthur Court I think was their old. It's their version of Carmichael. It was just the old gym was just sitting right there, and as you do on college campuses, you just go check every door. Always the door on the far left, the door on the far right's unlocked. I just walked in. And just I got all the way to half court. I was like the Man United fans at Old Trafford. I just walked in, got to half court, and I'm looking around. That place was insane. I remember that. I don't know if this is answering his question. I'm just trying to figure out where the cool gyms are.
I think if you are a West Coast basketball aficionado, reach out to us. Tell us where we should go on the West Coast because we want to see the best gyms on the West Coast.
I'll do West Regional Vegas, East Regional in Madison Square Garden. Midwest is I think what do you say, Kansas City? I like Kansas City. Kansas City was awesome because you don't want to just do LA, New York, Chicago, and Houston or something. Just because they're the biggest
college
cities.
Basketball places.
You want to have so I do Vegas. I would do Madison Square Garden. I would do Kansas City, and then in the South, what do you say, New Orleans?
Greensboro Coliseum.
He said Greensboro. I'll do New Orleans as the regional, and then Final Four in Indy. Boom, done.
Bang.
Lock it in.
Bang. There you go, Clay. Next question. This is for you, Titus. He said he bets everyone is asking this. Is there any men's college basketball program that if they offered you a head coaching job, you wouldn't take it? For example, if the University of Maine offered you a job, would you take it?
I would take that. Yeah.
Leo Connolly is asking the question. Thank you so much, Leo.
I would take the main job.
What is the one job that you would not take? That is his question.
Honestly, it would probably be Chicago State at this point. I think that ship has sailed. I genuinely would take any job, I think. I'm trying to think of what I guess like the HBCUs probably couldn't take those jobs. Like I think the optics of that would be pretty bad if I came in as a doofy nerdy white dude that like was like, this is all a joke to me. And they're like, what?
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't do that. But the rest of them I would. And as much as I would make it a joke externally, internally I would take it very serious. You know, that's what that was my pitch to like Duquesne and to Chicago State was like the joke externally.
I know they're memeing me to the moon. Yeah. I know you guys are seeing the memes, but
hear me out. We're gonna run horn set. Do you know what horn set is? Yeah. We're gonna do this every time down the floor.
Have you guys heard of the pick and roll? Let me show you how to do it.
I would, externally, I would do. I think Eric Musselman's helped me with this because I think like he's kind of shown me the blueprint where you can like be a little bit of a goofball and make it a brand play, Tate. But then internally, you're taking it very seriously and you're coaching the boys up and winning basketball games. So to answer the question, I can't think of one off the top of my head. I would take any of these jobs. So any ADs listening or anything, I just want an interview, honestly. I'm at the point I just want one interview. I would take that. Just one single interview. But think about the content, dude. Think about the content. If I get a head coaching job in Division I, if I'm IUPUI's coach in Indianapolis, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
I mean... Be great. Just go for it.
I would keep the show going.
Come on, Leo. Help us out. Put in the words. All right, next up. How do you guys feel about Kyle becoming a star on the life advice segment of Rosillo's Pod? Have you confronted Ryan about the fact that you discovered Kyle's value in chiming in on the show? And do you think he's the reason Kyle won't call you back? Anthony.
Go ahead. You take that one.
I do not listen to that. But I also, I understand. I know what it is, and I'm happy for Kyle. As you know, Kyle was someone that, I had 30 shows that I was editing by myself, and I needed someone to help me. They said, this guy will help. Kyle was like, I will help you. I did not believe him at first, and then he was like, no, I edit music in my free time. Yeah. I actually know how to use Pro Tools, and I was like, Kyle, don't you bullshit me, because you need to help me. And now that Kyle has become a star in his own light, I'm very happy for him. Yeah. And Ryan Rosillo saw it. You know what I mean? He didn't need us. He saw what
we saw.
Yeah. He didn't need us to make him a star.
Yeah. Kyle. He apparently on Life Advice told a story about how he broke into when he was in high school. There's a car that would leave their doors unlocked, and Kyle would just open the doors and smoke in that car because he had nowhere to smoke.
And Kyle is everything that I respect, which is just like someone that, if from the outside you may say he's like nepotism or whatever, but Kyle is like the most down home, humble, real dude ever. And the fact that he just climbed in someone's car and started smoking a burner is awesome.
How do we feel about it? I love it. I
love it. Yeah.
I want Kyle to have his own podcast. I want Kyle to have a bigger platform.
Yes.
I want the more America hears from Kyle, the better.
The better, especially at the Ringer. Right?
Yeah, especially they need
Kyle, dichotomy of thought.
Kyle should be on every single show.
Yes,
honestly.
dissenting opinion.
Kyle's on the big picture.
Just the camera pans to Kyle. Kyle, your thoughts. What are your thoughts on Herzog, Kyle?
Kyle just like every year during the Oscars goes on the big picture and bitches about The Rock not being nominated.
He's like, how did Marvel not win this year?
I don't get it.
I don't get it.
I don't get it.
Infinity War was unbelievable. I respect it. Here we go. We're moving on. Hi, hey guys, love the show. Just wanted to ask, as a fan of the Dallas half of the greatest up-and-coming basketball rivalry, can we call the AAC a Power 5B conference instead of a Power 6 conference? Thanks, AJ. I think this is for the fans at home that are fans of the American Conference, fans of SMU, a school that has showed us nothing but love over the years, so we respect them. 5B is better than 6, I think. Again, AJ, great question.
It is tough because it does feel weird to cut it. Well, first of all, don't we have 6 because the Big East is 6. So I mean, this would be 6B. It would be 6B. But secondly, it does feel weird to add like a conference with Wichita State and I guess that doesn't feel as weird, but with Cincinnati. I can't do it, dude. I think Cincinnati's your only like real. Houston, I don't know. 6B. I'll give you 6B.
6B.
I'm trying to think through it because it's like it does feel weird to treat the American as the same group as like I don't know the Sun Belt, and you're like it's just kind of these are the top 6. These are all the others, because the American's better than that. But is it? Is it though? That's the question.
I mean, look, it doesn't.
They produce more Final Four teams than the Big Ten did.
It doesn't have the history of the Sun Belt either, which was created by Vic Bubas. So the fact that that happened, it's hard to top that. All right, good question. Here we go. We got some fire coming up. Mark the Shark 34. This is the winner of our bracket. This is our, we had a bracket for the tournament, the Titus Tate official bracket. He said, hey, I was supposed to be on the Duffy's pod as the bracket challenge winner 2 weeks ago, made multiple attempts to reach out, yada, yada, yada. At this point, I completely get it if I'm not invited on the pod. I mean, who the hell would want to listen to me talk in the first place? I'm like, as I'm reading this, I'm feeling worse. He said, I wear a large T-shirt. I already have the Maui Bum shirt, so we're going to send you a shirt. He sent his shipping address. Benjamin Coford, first off, Ben, we're sorry. And the reason, we have an explanation, right?
Yeah, I don't throw people under the bus. It's not something I do. That's something, by the way, all the athletic directors listening that
you would never do this
might
to
be
a player.
interested.
Yes.
Yeah, and hire me. I don't throw players under the bus. I don't throw assistant coaches under the bus. I just want to preface it with that. What I am doing is not throwing anyone under the bus. This is 100% Louise's fault.
Yes.
This is Louise was our former producer. She is in
no longer here. Can't get in trouble for these comments now, but yes.
She is in a job transition as we speak. She has left the show, Tate.
As you just said, there's a crack there.
There's a crack. When you go like that, it's not a clean break.
Something's going to fall through that
Indiana
crack.
Jones is taking it and switching the bag. And as the switch was happening, we were right here. Somewhere along the line, Benjamin slipped through the crack. He is making contact though, and we will rectify the situation. That's all I can say.
Yes.
It's not my fault. I take full responsibility. I do. But it's not my fault. It's Louise's fault.
Yes. And Ben, we will figure this out. Just know that I appreciate you sticking by the show. We always had your back, Ben. Just so you know.
Just so you know. Just so you know,
we would have
Ben,
never let this happen.
This would never on our watch. I can't even fathom. Like, it disgusts me to my core that this happened. Which again, it's not our fault for that reason.
Yeah,
it's Louise's fault.
And Ben,
but
we
do
will
take
point out that the name of your bracket was Mark the Shark 34.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of us that were confused.
Yeah,
as
it's
to
like,
who
Ben,
won the
I'm gonna be
bracket.
honest. Like, shtick aside, the reason we haven't done anything is because I've convinced everybody on the show
that
was me.
Yeah.
Your username was Mark the Shark 34. I was like, yeah, that's my bracket. I won.
I love it. I love it.
The jig is up.
Thanks, Ben. We're going to have you on the show eventually. All right, next question. Growing up in Indiana, Spiece AAU was always big part of the summer. Tyler sent a picture here of the Spiece poster that you're on. Titus looks great.
Oh,
he said, I took in Spiece during a summer camp years ago. Mark, what is your favorite memory playing on the stack team, and how often do you think back of a game to the game that made them recruit you? Tate, what role would you have played on this team? I appreciate you
that's a better
guys
question.
and all the content you were cranking out. has made the pandemic much more enjoyable. Go Hoosiers, go Mike Woodson, but first Woody Durham. Thank you, Tyler.
I think the more interesting question than hearing me talk about my AAU team for the 10,000th time is what role are you playing if you are on the AAU team as well?
Daquan Cook's best friend. I am literally, I will say this. I will promise you one thing. Just like Rashad McCants, if I was on that team, what Theo Pinson does on the Knicks with Julius Randle, that is what I'm doing for Daquan Cook every single game. I'm getting him hyped up. I'm telling him that he's the best player on the team. And like I'm also talking to Greg and Mike and letting you help massage that situation because they're gonna hear me being loud. I'm like, Daquan, that's your shot. When he swings it back to Mike, I'm like, Daquan, that's your shot every time. Like I might have some beef
Tate
from the other players.
You would forget to put on your uniform, forget in quotes to put on your uniform some games because like then coach would go to put you in, and you'd be like, that's not what I do, coach.
No.
That's not my.
I mean, look,
like
I can go out there, I can be a two-way player, I can get shots up, I can promise you that. But at the end of the day, what am I? The same way as Theo Pinson. What is my best attribute? What is my best role for this team of stacked players? It is to get our best player naturally hyped up enough and to know that he's better than everybody else. Daquan Cook, I got your back. That's it.
That'd be great. That'd be.
Oh my. That would be. Dude, are you kidding me? How many teams would hate me talking to him too on the side for Daquan?
Yeah.
You're
just talking.
Daquan's not saying a word, but I'm his mouthpiece.
You would lead our team in technical fouls.
Absolutely.
Without playing a second.
Rasheed Wallace is my favorite player, and I've gotten teed up in lots of games. In fact, I punted a ball, and my mom got me and was like, "Are you kidding me?" I was like, "Tracy McGrady did it."
You would get technical fouls. Only talking to your teammates. That's it.
Exactly.
That was a great bit too, where you could you're talking to Daquan and the refs are teeing you up just because what you're saying to Daquan is so aggressive.
Yes.
Then you're just like, what, dude? I'm talking to my teammate.
Yeah.
But then you're also like, Daquan, he can't guard you. He's a bitch. Daquan,
That's all day.
And they tee you up. They're like, what?
He bangs when somebody's on the ground. I go stand over him.
That's great.
That would be fun. I feel like he would have a different career if I was right there. Oh man, Daquan Cook though, NBA Live 07 or 08.
My favorite memory, I'll answer very quickly. My favorite memory, it was not the game. My favorite memory was always off the court. That's the answer you get from like all the guys that play that are tight knit groups was off the court. I vividly remember one time we were playing in Texas and the power went out in the hotel. The night we were there for like 3 nights, and one of the nights the power goes out in the hotel. And we basically just played hide and seek in the hotel as a team. And just imagine like someone else staying at that hotel. We're running up and down the hallways, yelling, and like we were, 15, 16 years old, whatever. And now that I think about it as an adult, number one, I can't believe how much noise we were making and how everyone else in that hotel must have hated us. Number two, like if you're hearing the noise and you pop out of your room to see like what the commotion is, and you see Greg Oden and Aaron Pogue, who's like 6'9", 270, like chasing each other through, that would be the most terrifying thing ever, But that's my favorite memories of stuff like that. In all seriousness, it's just like the off the court. Yeah. I would describe my AAU experience as you know that surfing documentary on the Momentum Generation with Kelly Slater and all those guys that
Bill Simmons does.
Yeah, Bill Simmons executive produced. That great documentary. It's an unbelievable
really is,
documentary. Every time I've watched it, which is like 4 times, I think that is what our AAU basketball team was, except theirs is surfing. Ours is like you could do the exact same story on us. About basketball that you did on these guys about surf. So I don't know if that makes sense.
I saw CBB on Fox put up the question, like the one team you wish won a title, and it had Greg in 07. And I'm just like, if there's anyone that ever deserved a title just to have like in his back pocket, it's you. That's right.
It's me. Yes, I agree.
For sure. All right, moving on. This comes from Jack Piccioni. He says, Tate, did you actually work for Ellen, or is that a meme? If so, what was the worst thing she said to an intern or you? Great question, Jack. Let's just say I did work for Ellen, and I was working 80-plus hours a week for a salary of $28,000 in Los Angeles. Just think about that. That would be insane. That would be crazy. If you did that. Yeah. All right, let's move on. Yo, Tate, massive fan of the show, and I have a huge dilemma. I have a huge dilemma. I like your advice on. I'd like your advice on. So there's no basketball team I hate more than Duke basketball. I partially blame you for this. I became a UVA fan because you guys F with him so much on the show, and now I'm going to Duke. Wow, this is because it has good academics. Do I switch to the dark side, or do I just ride with the Bennett boys in secrecy? This is a pretty easy answer.
I think you have to switch, right?
You have to.
Yeah.
You have to pull for your school.
You 100% have to pull for your school.
There's only one person that I've met in this life
Yep.
that was able to go to a school and pull for his hometown school the entire time. And his name is Sean.
And I don't respect him.
He's from Connecticut, and he went to Syracuse, and he pulled for UConn the whole time. In fact, I'm so blown away by it that I have to say it sometimes out loud. And I respect it because I can't believe it's possible.
I have no respect for it, so that's where you and I differ. Zero respect.
I mean,
No.
it's funny. Like my roommate, Michael, he grew up in Durham, a Duke fan. He has the 01 national championship basketball, but he also has the 09 Carolina because
you pivot. Like once you become,
you changed.
I agree. I think you can't. I think you can do both-ish, but you always like because I get asked a similar question all the time. I grew up an Indiana fan, went to Ohio State. What happens when they play? That's like people think they're gonna put my brain in a pretzel. They're like, oh, they're in the same conference. They might play this year. Who are you gonna cheer for? And I say Ohio State every time. Everyone gets it. Like even the Indiana fans that love me because I was going to bat for them. Like they
they
get
have
like
to understand
they have to
it.
understand that. I'm always gonna cheer. I want
It's your
Ohio
alma
State.
mater.
I want them to beat Indiana by 1,000.
Yeah.
And then when Indiana plays anyone else, I'll cheer for IU. I think that's what you got to do. Your undergrad. That's priority number one is your undergrad. The school you go to undergrad in your alma mater. Boom. That's the team you cheer for.
And as someone who went to Cameron Indoor as a kid, I used to always wear a sweatshirt and I'd have my Carolina shirt underneath. Like the lady that watched us, Miss K was her name.
Yeah.
Iron Duke. She would always watch me and my brother. We'd go to the games with her. We'd always have gray sweatshirts on, Carolina shirts. Because if you were in there wearing the opposition, it is not a fun experience.
Yeah.
And I can't say that.
That's not.
I can't stress that even more. So the fact that you could be a student and be pulling for Tony Bennett, it's not going to work.
No, you
Mark.
can't do that.
Can't do it.
Go cheer for Duke, Mark.
Yeah, go cheer for Duke. You did it. You got into Duke. Hey, guys, love the show. I was wondering if you two could talk a little more about the selection process for the NCAA tournament and whether it is good. If I had to boil it down to one question, I'd ask, should there be a cap on how many teams from one conference make it into the NCAA tournament? Thanks, Alex Baker.
Oh, man. Well, we're probably the two wrong guys to ask because, like, our conferences benefit greatly from having
I mean, it
teams
was cool when the NIT would be like, you couldn't go to the tournament, so now you're in the NIT and people would watch.
I will say, I hear stories of the old days, and it sounds nice. The idea of that would make regular season
matter a lot. Yes.
Which it already matters, but it's mattering less and less to people, and especially as conferences get bigger and the realignment happens and the conference schedules are unbalanced. But you do that matters a lot. I think like gut instinct when I'm asked the question, I want to say yes, but I'm trying to think of the downside. Like the downside, I guess, is that people would argue like, shouldn't the tournament be just the best teams? That's like what we want to see. We don't want to see. We don't want but to that I say no, because like part of what makes the tournament great this year is there are automatic bids. As it stands right now is the automatic bids. We love that. We love the underdogs. We love Ohio beating Virginia and Oral Roberts beating Florida.
There's no Steph Curry without,
Yes. Oral Roberts beating Florida and almost beating Arkansas and taking Arkansas to bring. We love those stories. So why not? I think my answer is yes. Lock me in on yes. I would be an advocate for like a 5-team cap or something, 6-team. Certainly half. Like you have to finish in the top half of your conference.
Yeah, I like that. I like top 7 if you have 14, top 6 if you have 12, top 5 if you have 10.
If you're under 500 in your conference, you can't make the tournament under any circumstances.
Yes. Unless you win the tournament. Unless you win your conference tournament. Like Georgetown.
Or unless you have like a handful of 5 stars and and it's good content.
Yeah, and you're pushing the NCAA stuff until next year. That would be
like if you're like Ben Simmons at LSU, I'm getting you in that tournament.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. We're getting you in that tournament.
Did we solve anything?
Good question, Alex.
Good question.
Yeah.
The explain it more. Like I guess the selection process. There's nothing really explained. They just like that's what makes it so fun. Like people hate that. The stats nerds hate that. The analytics people, that there isn't just a formula you can type in everything, spit it out, and this is the bracket.
Ken Palm.
But I kind of love it because you get all these old dudes in the same room, and they just get to like barbershop argue about it, and they're just like, Houston's a fraud, and another guy's like, no, they're not, and then they figure it out through that. And they're like, and some guys are throwing out stats, other guys are like, to hell with your stats. I watched the game. My eyes say, and it's great. And
I like to think that then Condoleezza just turns around in her chair,
she swivels.
Yeah,
she's got her hands
and then says
tinted.
Houston is a fraud. Make them a 2. Long time
God,
teed up
dude.
listener, first time here. Wow, that's nice. Thanks, Frank. My new boss went to Ohio State. What are some things to know to keep me in his good graces? Also, what are some hilarious and/or ill-advised things to avoid? Again,
Okay.
best Frank F is what he's saying.
Boss
is
went
for
to
you.
Ohio
This
State.
is for you.
I'm guessing the boss is going to be a football fan, so like don't
Yes.
don't
bring up
don't even try to
basketball.
bring up
Yeah.
basketball. That's going to be a swing and a miss. I
What
think
about baseball? Is Ohio State good at baseball? Do you
we're
care
pretty
about?
good at
Do you care though?
I care.
Okay.
Ohio State's one of the schools that's like
We're good at
we have to be
everything.
good at everything.
Yeah, yeah.
And if we're not, fire the coach.
No, 100%. I feel that.
Like, it's very irrational. It's like I had no idea that we had a women's rowing team, but now that I know about it, and you're telling me we finished 7th this year, fire the coach.
Yeah. We need a better coach.
Fire
Who's the
her.
best coach?
I think you just stick with football. I think you stick with just general. Like, here's the thing. He probably. It's hard to gauge based off of this one email how big of a fan he actually is. But I'm guessing he's just like you could just play the hits. Just talk about Justin Fields. Talk about how much Michigan sucks, and Jim Harbaugh sucks.
Don't ever bring up tattoos.
Don't bring
Don't
up
you
tattoos.
ever bring up tattoos.
I think like if you want to, I don't know though, because I don't know, like not every Ohio State fan shares this sentiment, but I Jim Tressel to me is I hold Jim Tressel in much higher regard than Urban Meyer, Ryan Day, even
Same.
He to me he's the greatest coach Ohio State.
Jim Tressel is the Ohio State coach in my mind.
It's controversial to say, obviously. So maybe you could try that, where you could be like, I always thought that like Tressel. I don't know. I'm trying to, because I don't think that's gonna play. I think that's I think like most Ohio State fans are like Urban's the guy, and Tressel.
Well,
like,
that's wrong. Urban is not the guy. No offense.
I think
to
that's what
Urban.
they'll say. I think you say
Urban's a
like
Florida guy.
you bring up the Jaguars, bring that up because there are Ohio State people that are interested in what Urban's gonna do with Jacksonville. It's very strange.
Why? He's in Florida.
Dude, don't get me
What?
started on Urban Meyer.
What are you
Do not get
talking
me
about?
started on Urban Meyer. Don't get me started on this man. This man bamboozled the entire Ohio State community.
Yeah.
And
then left.
And he won a title. So, like he LeBron'd Ohio State.
Yeah, he did.
Where he's like, I'm coming back home.
Yeah.
I'm from here, and it's like you're from Northeast Ohio. This is Columbus, but okay, we'll go with it. I want to be here for the rest of my
Is
life.
he the Kim Mulkey?
He really is. He wins the title, and then he says deuces,
Yeah.
and everyone in Ohio's like, I can't be mad because the guy won me a title. And I'm like, you still could be mad.
You can still be
You
mad.
can still be mad.
Yeah. All right.
Anyway, I don't know. I would say just play the hits. Just
Frank,
talk about
just play
Justin
the hits.
Fields.
Trey
Talk
Sermon
about
got
Ryan Day,
drafted.
Trey
Yeah.
Sermon.
Yeah. All those
Just
guys.
Google, like
Ezekiel
literally, just
Elliott.
Google Ohio State stuff. You'll be fine.
You'll be fine. I mean,
Yeah.
there's enough great stars from Ohio State. Like, no Clark Kellogg went there.
Hate Michigan, honestly. Like
Yeah.
that like if you hate Michigan football, I think that could be a good thing for you, Frank. Here it is. Everyone else that works with you is going to be watching Ohio State, and all in the fall they're going to be coming in and wanting to talk about the Ohio State football game. You go the opposite, Frank. You watch Michigan and you watch them closely, and every time Michigan sucks, you come in and you talk to the boss. You're like, dude, the Wolverines, they look like ass. And then he's going to get so excited to talk. Because that's the other thing. A lot of Ohio State fans would rather talk about how bad Michigan is than how good Ohio State is. So do that.
That is,
That's my advice.
that sounds, look, in my mind, the football version of Carolina Duke is Ohio State, Michigan, so the fact that is the setup, the fact that you can just, throw dirt over here, that's what everyone wants to see. All right, moving on.
How many we got? We
have
getting
1,
close?
2, 3, 4 more.
All right, I could feel it. I could feel locking in on the final four.
We're here
we go.
at the end. All right, unpopular question before the next show with a few listeners from Poland. Shout out to Poland.
Wow.
What do you know about Poland, and how many players do you know who played in the NCAA in the past? I'm going to butcher this name. Krzysztof Kozadowski.
Was Karnowski not from Poland?
That's my answer, yeah.
Yeah, Karnowski's from Poland.
Karnowski is my answer.
That's it. Unfortunately, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
to say.
Karnowski was the one that was recent, 2017, leads Gonzaga to the title game. I mean, I remember his dad being there. That was really cool. That he was like real on Poland.
Yeah.
Can you just look up Polish players right now so we can just give a
I'm
rundown?
gonna. Where was Sabonis from? Yeah, he was.
Sabonis isn't Polish.
No, I know that.
Yeah.
He was Slovenian.
Lithuanian.
Lithuanian.
Yeah.
Lithuanian. I knew he was. I knew he wasn't Polish.
Shout out to Eastern Europe in general.
So Polish basketball players.
I'm a Croatia guy.
Is Mike Krzyzewski not Polish?
Yeah, that's true. Coach K.
Does he not count?
He does count. I feel like Chicago. There's a lot of Chicago Polish, connection there for Chicago
Polish
guys. So.
basketball players. Let me see here. Oh, Gortat.
Okay. Martin Gortat.
Yep.
NBA star. 13-year vet, I believe.
Did not play in NCAA, though.
It's okay.
David Logan. Why does that come up? David Logan's not. Does he play in the the Poland league? He's an American-born, naturalized Polish professional. So he's been playing in Poland for so long.
Yeah.
That they've given him citizenship.
Respect that.
I love that. That's about it. That's the only one that's going to stand out to you is Karnowski.
Christoph,
So
we did our best.
We need more Polish guys.
Yeah,
I think that's the new wave.
That is the answer. We need some of the next Hubie Brown needs to go over to Poland, teach these Polish kids about the American game, and then they come over and dominate.
Does Poland I can't imagine Poland's had a very strong national team, huh?
I don't think so.
We got to figure that out.
Mm-hmm.
We gotta, I don't know. We need like a Ryder Cup, by the way, for basketball, where it's America versus basically the world. Because that's how I'm interested in that. Mm-hmm. I know. I mean, that's kind of cocky for me to say now because I know.
You know how the Ryder Cup has gone too. I mean, we lose a lot.
And I know. Like
I hate playing Europe in the Ryder Cup.
I remember when Ginobili and Argentina beat us in the FIBA deal, and that was in Indianapolis, I think. And it's like I know America's capable of losing, like we've seen it before. But if there was like an event like that would actually be very fascinating to watch. Is the world versus America, all the best players. Mm. The world would kill us, right?
Now
they're
today. I mean, you think about it. I mean, Embiid, Giannis, Jokic. I mean, that front line right there. No one's stopping that in the U.S.
Ben Simmons.
I mean, yeah, there you go. And Jamal Murray's your shooting guard.
Jamal Murray. Yeah.
We're probably going to lose that game for the first time.
America would have LeBron James, 4 guys that LeBron doesn't hate. Coach K is the coach.
So the Space Jam 2. So we got to get Clay healthy. We got to get Dame.
J.R. Smith is on the team. He somehow got on there.
Oh my God, is that Shane Battier?
And Chris Bosh, who's like every time he checks in, he's like, I have the heart. I can't do this, you guys.
Please don't feed me.
Please don't. Like I can't.
I'm done. Please.
They're like, Chris, we need you.
Chris, Drummond.
And Mike Miller's corpse out there.
And poor Greg Oden gets a call from LeBron. He's like, Greg, I need you one more time. One more run, Greg. All right, this is good. We got 3 more to go. If college basketball coaches were South Park characters, who is who? Some thoughts. This is basically, I'll do the rundown. He said Cartman is Will Wade, Garrison is Rick Pitino, Mr. Hat is Richard Pitino.
Hold on, go slower.
Okay.
I need to chew on this.
Cartman is Will Wade.
Okay.
Which I don't like that.
Right.
Garrison is Rick Pitino, which I kind of like that. Mr. Hat is Richard Pitino, which I love.
Okay.
I love that. That's comedy. Satan is Coach K, as expected. As expected. Saddam, which at first I will say Saddam to me was going to be Jim Boeheim, but he did a good job here. Saddam is Coach Calipari.
Okay.
Which is his new love interest. Coach K is like, I'm into the one and done.
I want to take your deal. Yeah.
And then his old boyfriend that is jealous of Saddam, that is Jim Boeheim. that is Jim Boeheim. Scott Malkinson is Tony Bennett, and Chef is Bob Huggins. This is.
How can we answer this?
I don't think we can answer this question.
Who's Randy? That's where my mind goes.
Yeah.
Butters is Josh Pastner.
Yeah.
Butters is Josh Pastner. Definitely. That's all I can contribute. I know Butters is Josh Pastner.
Chef is not Bob Huggins. Malkinson is not Tony Bennett. But Saddam is Calipari. Coach K is Satan. Garrison is Rick Pitino. I think those are really solid. I also love that he did not use any of the kids.
Yeah.
Because that's hard. You know, it's like, how could you do
Cartman?
Cartman is
Cartman's Bruce Pearl, dude. Cartman's Bruce Pearl. He'll do anything to win, and then he'll like. He's also like,
and then he plays the moral card.
Yeah,
and then he'll say, you guys are cheating. You guys are sort of losers. You're like, no, dude, that's you.
Cartman is Bruce Pearl. Butters is Josh Pastner.
Okay.
Randy is tripping me up. I got to think of who Randy would be.
Yeah, Mike Bray was who I was thinking of in my mind, but I think Mike Bray like 10 years ago was Randy. I don't know who Randy is now.
I think Musselman. I think the Randy Musselman, always wants to be like in with the kids and the cool, you know.
Yeah. Integrity.
I
mean, there is a chance that Musselman is at Integrity Farm.
Randy follows the trend. Whatever's the meme right now.
Yes.
Randy's in on it.
Yes.
And that's
He's
Musselman.
at Soda Sopa.
Yeah.
Whatever it takes.
Creme fraiche, and he's cooking it up, and he buys the shake weights, and Randy. That's Musselman.
Man, I think so too. That's good. I think those are good answers.
All right.
Appreciate that. We didn't have a name for this entry. So shout out for that. That was a very well thought out question. All right, next one.
You wrote that.
I wish. Who is going to be the Jose Canseco college basketball recruiting? This is from Corey. Corey from Durham. He said it took him coming out exposing to change steroids in baseball. What if a college basketball player came out, showed the receipts? Corey said he thought it would be Zion for a while.
I thought it was going to be Zion, but Zion's too nice.
He
Zion's
said, who will it be
good,
and when?
Good dude. I thought it was going to be Zion inadvertently and involuntarily.
Yeah. I thought it was going to be Brian Bowen.
Ooh, Brian Bowen could be, but Brian Bowen doesn't have cachet. I think Brian Bowen, you could point. The problem is you can point to Brian Bowen and say you're just bitter because it didn't work out for you.
Exactly.
And you need a guy who's like bigger than the whole system that like a Zion. Like if Zion said,
or an O'Bannon who won a championship.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Like you won a national championship and you're still saying I deserve to get paid for this video game.
Who would it be? I mean, Ben Simmons tried.
Yeah, Ben Simmons did his best.
Ben Simmons was doing it while he was there.
He was like, LeBron, am I doing this right? Yeah. LeBron's like, yes, take it down, son, please.
Ben Simmons is getting interviewed. They're like, what does this mean to you to be the first LSU player? He's like, it means nothing.
Yeah,
it
he's
means
like literally absolutely nothing.
None of this means anything. Literally everything you're seeing from me this year means nothing to me. In fact, I'm angry I have to be here.
Yeah, and it never will.
And it never will. I hate you all. Goodbye.
Meanwhile, the guy from Australia could have just played in the NBL for 1 year, and that would have made so much sense.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But here's where we are.
Who could it be? Who could it be? Who could it be? Who could it be?
My answer is not a player. My answer is a coach, and I think it's a pretty simple one. Sean Miller.
Great.
Sean Miller is, to me, the one who knows
pick.
the secrets. He knows about the old guard. He knows how the game goes, but he also has no respect. And when you don't have power and you barely have money, you really want respect.
Yeah.
And power's gone. Money is there, but it's not the money you were making. Now you want respect. I think if you're Sean Miller, the way that you get respect from the masses is to say, the whole system is corrupt.
Yeah.
And I know best.
Yep.
Here's how I did it.
Yes.
And you beat Schlabach and everyone to the punch.
Yes, this is great. This is a great answer.
And OJ did this. He wrote a book, If I Did It. You know what I mean? This is Sean Miller should do this. If I did it, here's what I would have done. And let me just tell you, I'm buying that book. I'm reading that book. We're talking about that book.
This is because Sean. This is great. It's 100%. Sean Miller is Jose Canseco's stature as well.
Exactly. We know him, but we don't know him that well. We're
He's
kind of
not-
like, that's the guy that came out.
Yeah. This is all adding up.
And
This
you
is
thought
great.
it would be Jeff Kent. You know what I mean? Like all signs pointing to Jeff Kent.
I think the other move, Sean Miller is 100% Jose. I think Patino has positioned himself to be Lance Armstrong.
Yes.
Where he's like, he's very, very outwardly in your face. I did nothing wrong. I'm like trying to control the narrative so
He's like
hard.
fighting you.
I'm
that he did
ruining
nothing
your
wrong.
life
Yeah.
that you said that I did something wrong. I will kill you.
Oh, you think I'm a cheater?
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna ruin your life.
I'm gonna ruin your life.
That's
And then he takes his hat, he puts it in his hand, bows his head, and very solemnly is like, America, I did cheat.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, yeah, duh. We knew that. And he's
Duh.
like, no, you didn't know. I'm gonna tell you what I did. And then he just says everything he did, and we're all like, yeah, Rick, we knew that. But still, like, he warms up to us. I think Rick Pitino could be Lance Armstrong. Sean Miller is Jose Canseco. Two different scandals, but kind of the same. Everyone's juicing.
Yeah.
And that's great. And,
What's the Pardon My Take intern that got that boxed? What's his name?
Billy
So
football?
I already see
Yeah.
in 5 years Billy boxing Sean Miller. Rough and rowdy.
Who's gonna be the Sammy Sosa who like cheated and gets called out for it?
Yeah.
And then has to testify in Congress and suddenly forgets how to speak English, even though like
Ooh.
we have
Ooh.
we have all this footage of you speaking English.
Dude, Patrick Ewing.
Where he's like I'm Jamaican. He's like I'm Jamaican born. They're like, don't they speak English in Jamaica? And he's like, no, we don't.
It's like patois, sorry.
No, we don't.
He just looks at him, he's like,
That was my favorite thing, dude, from the steroid era was Sammy Sosa. As a Cubs fan, like watching this guy.
it wasn't just him. Palmeiro did it
Palmeiro
too.
he tried
Rafael
it.
Palmeiro
Yeah.
did it too. Yeah.
But Sosa was so like blatantly like he had a translator.
Yeah.
He's like,
He literally had to shrug the entire time. Palmeiro was the worst because as they were reading the charges, like he obviously understood it, so he was reacting to it, so you knew that he understood it. Sammy did a good job of acting like he had no idea what they were talking about. He like acted like they were talking about good things about. He was like, "Are they saying good stuff about me?"
Yeah.
He's like, "Cork in the bat." He's like, "Not steroids, cork in the bat." What a great era, man. They should. That was when baseball was At least for me as a kid, it was so much fun. I was playing baseball too, so I guess it mattered more. Last question.
Yep, last one.
Last
Bring
one
it
of
home.
the AMA. When is the next TNT Classic? And then we have, I recommend Duke versus Kentucky 1992, Drew.
That would be a good one to do. I would say that one was
a good one.
That one's a good one. That's a great call. I mean, we do these in the off season. We've only done, we haven't done as many as you'd think we've done.
I think we've only done 3 historically.
Yeah, we did. I know we did 02 Duke IU.
Mm-hmm.
We did the 03 title game. Is that correct?
We did 03 title game.
Syracuse, Kansas.
And then we did Duke, Maryland, right? Did we do Duke, Maryland? We didn't do Duke,
What was the first
Maryland.
one we did? Boy. It wouldn't have been Duke because we
Was
did
it
Duke
08? Was it 08 title game?
No.
We've talked. Yeah, I mean, look. Regardless, the TNT Classics are coming back. If you don't understand the premise, Titus and I take a game from the past. We try to give you the historical context of said game, and then replay it and just talk about the highlights, the moments, the what ifs.
Dude,
we give out awards.
What game was it?
I honestly thought it was 08. The 08. I thought it was Mario's Miracle, but I could be totally wrong.
No.
There's no way we did that game. There's no way we did 16. There's no way we did 09.
No, it was 05 Illinois,
Carolina.
No, Illinois
Arizona.
Wasn't it?
Wow, maybe.
It was Illinois, Arizona 05, and then
Salim's taught him
and then
that.
it was 02. That was what it was.
Okay.
I remember now.
Yeah.
Anyway, point is that's a good one to do. That's
I think
the
it
one to
is
do.
because I think Drew, we will lock down right here. I think that we're gonna do this one because one, we get the Grant Hill pass.
Yep.
Which is and then we just had the moment where Jalen Suggs hits the shot.
Yeah,
Everyone
so it's a good
says,
time to like revisit
what is the
which
best
one
shot
was
in
better.
history. Yes.
Yeah, I had someone recently start a fight with me, and I didn't even really care. They were just like, "What do you think about the Jalen Suggs shot?" And I was like, I thought it was pretty awesome. I mean, I don't understand the question. What is the question? And he was like, is it for you? Like, do you think it's like an all-time shot? And I was like, I don't like where this is going, but yes, duh, whatever. And he's like, wrong. I'm gonna tell you why. Leitner's shot was so much better, and then he goes on a monologue about Leitner's shot. And the whole point was that
did he go to Duke?
No, he didn't. The whole point was that Leitner was losing. If he doesn't make it, Duke loses. If Suggs misses his, there's overtime. And I'm sitting there just nodding along like, can I eat my breakfast now? Like, I don't know. But the point is it got me thinking though, because he introduced this idea to me, like which one was better and which game was better. Because like even we felt like it wasn't just the Suggs shot, we felt like the whole game was like iconic.
Yes,
That
it was
UCLA
unbelievable.
Gonzaga game. But you know, Kentucky Duke '92, that's certainly the gold standard of great NCAA tournament games. So that's
It is one of my favorite.
that
It is one of my favorite huddle moments that has been leaked out over the years. That basically. Christian Leitner said in the Coach K is like, "Can you do this? Can we run this play?" And
I'll
Christian
make it, Coach.
He said, "I'll make it if Grant can make the pass."
Ooh.
So he put the onus back on Grant Hill, and Grant Hill's like sitting there. He's like, "All right, yeah, dude, I can make the pass." Like, what put all the pressure on me?
I mean, Christian, we're not worried about that. Like,
He's like, "I can make the pass. Don't you worry about that."
Amino Timberlake gets his chest stomped on.
Yeah.
Thomas Hill's like crying on the sideline.
Dude.
Everyone erroneously thinks that he, like, when you rewatch it, you think that he was playing for Kentucky because he's like, it looks like he's crying because they lost, but he's actually crying because they won. Yeah, it's a good one. Did we just do it? I think we just did that.
I think we
just did the recall.
It's such a great period in college basketball too, because it literally is the changing of the guard. It is Coach K coming in and saying,
his first one.
He's like, I'm the dude. I'm the guy. I'm gonna make this happen.
Yeah, because 92. Oh my God, we have to do this.
Yeah.
Because 92, they go on to beat Indiana in the Final Four, right?
Exactly.
That was the Indiana was in the Final Four in '92, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then because '93, Roy beat Indiana, I think, in the Elite Eight.
Yeah.
So that they
Chaney
beat,
was hurt that year.
So it really was the changing of the guard. Because '92, they got dicked by, like, IU fans are still bitter about the '92 Final Four game with. Oh my God, dude, this is so good.
Yeah.
Because it is the changing of the guard. That's when Knight passed the torch to K.
Yeah.
With
And
92 Final Four.
UNLV kind of basically.
I think I got that right, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean they won. UNLV blew them out in '90, and then they come back in '91 and beat UNLV, and that was his first championship. Then '92 it's back to back.
Oh yeah.
And then '93 is Carolina.
So '91, it was just like, yeah.
It was redemption for 90.
'91 was an upset.
Yes.
It was like
was
that one
shocking.
didn't count.
Yeah,
That one
yeah.
didn't count.
Yeah.
Do it again if you're so good.
It was the Raleigh Massimino. That's what people thought.
Yeah, so do it again if you're so good. And then Knight was going to beat K in the Final Four, and then
Mm-hmm.
K beats him. And it's like, oh my God, K might actually be, this might be somebody. And then We never heard from him again after that.
And it was gone.
All right, is that it?
Yeah, that's
we
it.
Did
we
it.
did it. Yeah,
that was fun. We should do that more often.
Yeah, I mean, 30 questions. We got about almost 100 entries, submissions. We appreciate again all the friends of the program that sent it in. We appreciate anyone that enjoys the ride with us throughout the season. And a TNT Classic is coming this summer. It's official. We're gonna do it.
There
92.
All right.
Hey there, thanks for watching Titus and Tate. For the full friend of the program experience, subscribe right below and come join us for all things college basketball. The action is heating up. Come join Titus and Tate.